How houses in astrology can hide your true energy. As you might know, the zodiac is a division of the ecliptic into 12 equally sized zones of 30 degrees each, seen from the equator. In Sunring astrology, we consider astrology as a system that describes electromagnetic energies from the sun, the moon, and earth, and to a lesser extent the other planets. The energy from the stars themselves is too marginal to affect us. However, they help us determine the sun's and also the moon's position in relation to Earth and the resulting dominant electromagnetic energies that we are exposed to at different times and places. Imagine now that you superimpose another division of 12 zones on top of that. Why would you do that, you may ask? That is a good question, especially when you know that the dominant energies that we are exposed to come from mainly the sun and the Earth's magnetic field, and that they are oriented like a sun halo, where the cardinal points east, west, north, and south, or ascendant, descendant, medium Chile, and imum Chile are what really matters. This has been discussed in our mini video, What is the Sunring? But if you don't view astrology as an electromagnetic system, you might think it's a cool idea to start dividing the ecliptic in all sorts of ways. In fact, in ancient Egypt and Babylon, astrologers started dividing the ecliptic into different segments, so-called houses. The house systems that are used today originate from ancient Greece and came into use about 2000 years ago. In ancient Greece, they used a system called whole houses, or whole signs, where they numbered the zodiac signs counterclockwise from 1 to 12 and called them houses. Later systems use more complicated house systems where the houses do not coincide with the zodiac signs. Each house describes a domain in life, such as your home, your relationships, and career. The first house always starts from the ascendant, and the houses then proceed counterclockwise, no matter what house system you use. Here is an example of a birth chart of a fictive person, Ann Lager, born some 50 plus years ago in Stockholm, Sweden, a few days before the spring equinox. In this birth chart, the house system Placidus has been used. In this example, we will look at the planet Saturn, the planet of restrictions and limitations. The symbol of Saturn can be found in the 4th house. You can see it in the small black circle in the picture. The 4th house is associated with our home, our roots and parents. With Saturn placed here, it would suggest that Ann Lager has some limitations in this area and points to some sort of unhappy family circumstances. Now let's use another house system, the whole house system, also called whole signs systems, mentioned previously. The same fictive person, born at the exact same time and place, now has Saturn placed in the 6th house. The 6th house is associated with health, daily routines and work life. Saturn in the 6th house suggests that she will encounter limitations related to her health and maybe restrictions or limitations in her working life. Now let's try another house system, Koch. Now Saturn ends up in the 5th house. The 5th house governs creativity, self-expression, romance and children. This suggests she has problems with expressing herself. She may have problems in her love life and problems having children. As you can see, depending on which house system the astrologer decides to use, the interpretation of the person becomes completely different. If you look closer at these 3 images, and please do that, you will notice that planets, all of them except for Mars, end up in different houses depending on which house system you choose. The Moon ends up in either house 7, 8 or 9. Mercury and Venus end up in either house 1, 2 or 3. Jupiter ends up in either house 1 or 2. Uranus ends up in either house 8, 9 or 10. Neptune ends up in either house 10 or 12. Pluto ends up in either house 8 or 10. So, if this Ann Lager would visit 3 different astrologers, they may interpret her personality in completely different ways. Please go back to the previous images and check this yourself. The farther north or south of the equator someone is born, the more dramatically planets can shift into different houses, depending on which house system you use. Some house systems can't be used at all north of the Arctic Circle, which is quite problematic since a few million people live north of the Arctic Circle. So, In Sunring Astrology, we don't think house systems should be used, since they are unreliable and were probably not part of the astrological system originally. If you want to know more how we interpret the birth chart in Sunring Astrology, you can watch our mini video, What is the Sunring? We also have more extensive videos about Sunring Astrology in our playlist about electromagnetic astrology. And of course, there's loads of insights on our website, sunringastrology.com. Thank you for listening, and please share your comments and thoughts below.